What can I help you with, Judy?
Yes, so I had a question. I wanted to know the difference between passion and calling. So, how do you know the passion that you have is actually from God, and how do you know the difference between that and actually His calling for you for your life?
Yeah, great question. When you say passion, I think we have more than one.
Yes.
So, I have a passion for skiing, right? Like, if I could do
Mm-hmm.
anything, if I could do anything for the rest of my life, it would be skiing. Like, it's the thing that brings me the biggest joy in my life. It's the
Apart from your
activity
family,
that gives
right?
it's the activity that gives me the biggest joy in life is skiing, right?
Yeah.
So that's a passion. So reframe the question for me. Do you mean a passion for the things of the Lord? What do you mean? I want to get a distinction between passion and calling.
Cool. All right. So I love running my business.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Like, that gives me so much joy. I'm passionate about it, but I also want to know if this is the calling of my life, because I'm just trying to figure it out, because I've been running this for about 5 years. I love what I do, but I feel there is more. I feel like there's something that I'm missing somewhere, and I can't figure it out, but I feel like the business should be 10 times more than where it is today. And I'm just trying to figure out, is this the calling I have? Like, is this what God's put me for? Or am I just going, yep, this is my passion, I'm going to do it? Do you know what I mean?
Good question.
I'm trying to figure that part out, because I'm thinking...
I love it.
Yeah.
So do you believe that God's sovereign?
Yes.
Do you believe He could get you where He wants you?
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you end up in business?
Well, it was weird, because my background's actually engineering and science. I thought that's where I'm going to end up. I ended up working in a corporate world, and then ended up in a car accident that nearly cost my life. And the next thing I know, I'm running a business. I actually didn't know at the time how on earth that even happened, but I just, for a long time, because my parents have been a big part of this whole thing. They've been like, get a proper job, so stop running your own company and get a proper job. So I always get this voice in my head going, oh man, I'm not meant to be doing this. But okay, I'm so happy when I'm doing it.
Just to park there, fully never listen to anybody else.
Yes, I know that.
Don't listen to anybody else, especially people that have an agenda. Like, go get wise counsel, but don't get wise counsel from people that have already made their mind up about one way or the other.
Correct.
Right. That's just a bad idea. So I mean, love your parents, but you're not 15 anymore. So I'd follow the Lord before I followed my parents. That's for sure. So okay, so that makes a lot of sense to me. I would say to you that passion and calling are very different. I'll try and put it in the context of what I'm doing.
Sure.
I actually don't love the assignment on my life. Right? Here I am trying to rally tens of thousands of entrepreneurs to change culture, all that stuff that I just say all the time.
Yeah.
That's not something I would choose with my life.
Yeah.
What I would choose is skiing, right?
Yeah.
So now put that into context. I don't think Moses, when God said, go and get my people out of Egypt, I don't think he was like skippity-doo-dah, because he was a wanted man on murder, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think Paul was too excited when he's shipwrecked, flogged, beaten, and I don't think Joseph was too happy, sold by his brothers into slavery, in jail. And, I don't think Esther was too excited about her assignment when she had to go before the king and was likely to cut her head off. So I don't think that the assignment has to be this thing that we just love and adore. Because it's not in the Bible. Right? It's just not that in the Bible for people that had a big assignment and a big calling on their life. But what's weird is that, because I really don't like traveling so much because I'm away from my family. I really don't like aeroplane toilets after 3 hours. There are so many things that I absolutely hate about, but I do want the outcome. And I think that's why, I enjoy a lot of the journey, but I wouldn't say that it's my passion. I think my passion is helping business owners succeed and win and teaching them the strategies. That's a passion of mine. And that's what throws off enough money and influence for me to be able to go and do the assignment He's got for my life. So when you say to me, I've got a business and it could be 10 times bigger and I think there's more, I think the trap is a lot of people think it's either or. Should I be doing this or should I be doing that? Right? And this is not what you said, but a lot of people say to me, I'm not sure I'm called to run a business. I think I'm called to do something else. I would say to you that what if it's actually both? Because in my world, I have my profit-producing businesses that throw off the money for me to do my loss-making activities like Kingdom Business TV, Kingdom Business Summit, Kingdom Business Network, right? So I wonder whether that extra thing that you feel like there's more for you, you should be doing as well as running your business. Because for entrepreneurs, our businesses usually fund our purpose or our assignment or our calling.
Yeah.
So I don't like, it's not about, am I called for this and should I go and pursue something else? I would say to you, you in amongst growing your business, your calling will appear and they'll both come together really nicely.
Yeah. Very interesting.
If I didn't have my business, I wouldn't be able to do Kingdom Business because it would make too many losses for me to be able to sustain it, right?
Correct.
And so, for example, Dave Rowlands, a fellow that we've had on the podcast, he just popped into my mind. He runs a shade cloth business and funds massive orphanages in Uganda, right? Well, he has to have, but they're not even close. But his calling is to fund, his passion is to do the business. His calling is to fund the orphanage. And the two work incredibly well together because he doesn't have to go and raise money off anybody else to do the orphanage. He just builds the business, God blesses him, and he uses that money to do his calling. So I would say to you that the business you've got will grow and it's probably intrinsically linked to your calling. They could be different functions, but they're going to come together and you're going to be able to do both.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it.
But you don't have to be passionate about your calling. Like there are things that I fully don't enjoy.
Yeah.
It is a life of sacrifice, right? To do your calling. Yeah. So I just think a lot of people who are like, I should love what God's called me to do. No, not you. You can enjoy it. Yeah. You can enjoy the journey with the Lord, but there are elements of it that you can full on dislike. And I think you probably should because that's what keeps us humble.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
Now,
that's really cool. Well, that sort of leads into my second part of it, which is the question between what is God's way and what is God's will. Because we often talk about his will, I think, but then his way is always, it's sometimes different to what we think. So we always go and pursue it. Like, for example, I had, I was praying about a lot of things about the business and I thought this was his will. So I pursued it and continued it, but come to know that maybe that's not his way of doing things and it's my way of doing things. How do you discern between the two?
Spend more time with the Lord.
Yeah, more time with the Lord.
Spend more time with the Lord and ask him. He's not offended, by the way, when you don't do everything his way. He's had 7 billion people before we turned up that didn't do anything his way.
We have a very funny relationship.
That's the way it should be. And he would love that about you. So you can't look backwards and think I didn't do it his way. We're all doing stuff that isn't the best way for the Lord, from the Lord's perspective. Every single one of us has that in our lives somewhere. The only antidote to make, to stop you from getting it wrong is to always be inquiring of the Lord, right? If you remember, Joshua did a deal with the Gibeonites where they basically rode from just around the corner, but they tricked him because they had moldy bread and no water, but they made moldy bread so that they could trick him. And they did a treaty with him so he wouldn't take them all out and kill him. And Joshua did a treaty and it ended up being a nightmare for him. Now, what's the moral of the story? Joshua did not inquire of the Lord on that major decision. So he made a treaty with a people group without asking God. That's what happens when you don't inquire of the Lord or you don't ask him for his way. You end up just making dumb mistakes that end up hurting you.
Yeah.
So the only antidote to that is to spend more time with the Lord and to go to him and say, what about this? And what's your strategy? And should I do this? And learn that still small voice and learn to discern which way forward. And by the way, that's a lifelong journey. That's not a switch that you can turn on. Yeah. That is learning how to be more like him on a day-to-day basis until the day we die. So, but he loves it when somebody says, oh, you want to learn how to do it my way? Great, let's go on a journey together. So the only way to do that is to spend more time in the Word, more time seeking the Lord and not petitioning to him, actually saying, Lord, I'm going to say nothing for the next 20 minutes. Show me a picture, a design, a thought, a strategy. Show me, Lord, how you want me to do it.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always me talking.
Now, here's what that's the life of a Christian in 2019. We forget that the God might have a word to say. Here's a prayer for you and everybody else that's watching. Here's a prayer that I think is the most dangerous, powerful prayer we could ever say. Lord, show me where my character is letting me down.
Yeah, okay.
Because he'll show you, and he'll do it in a beautiful way that doesn't hurt, but he'll show you. Because because when your character is letting you down and you change that, then you become more like him. We become more like him when we pray those prayers. So you make that your prayer, and he'll show you the areas that you can realign with his way.